This is the exhaustive and haunting account of the monster of Florence, a case that terrified Italy for decades and remains one of the most complex serial killer investigations in history. Between 1968 and 1985, a shadow fell over the rolling hills of Tuscany. The Mostro di Firenze monster of Florence targeted couples seeking privacy in their cars on the outskirts of the city. He struck on moonless nights, always in remote, wooded areas known as Lovers' Lanes. The terror began in August 1968. Antonio Lo Bianco and Barbara Loci were shot to death in their car while Barbara's young son slept in the back seat. The weapon used was a .22 caliber Beretta pistol. Curiously, Barbara's husband was initially convicted of the crime and sent to prison. The case went cold until 1974, when another couple was found murdered in a similar fashion. The husband was still in prison, proving he couldn't be the killer. The ballistics matched the 1968 gun perfectly. The police realized they were dealing with a serial killer who had kept the same weapon for 6 years. As the killings continued into the early 1980s, the monster developed a horrific signature. He began surgically mutilating the female victims. These weren't random hacks. They were precise, suggesting the killer had medical or taxidermy knowledge. The city of Florence was paralyzed with fear. The Italian police were under immense pressure. They interviewed over 100,000 people and followed thousands of leads. The investigation became a labyrinth of conspiracy theories, involving occult sects, local aristocrats, and even high-ranking officials. Everyone was a suspect. In the early 90s, the focus shifted to a group of local men as the company di merende snack friends. The lead suspect was Pietro Pocciani, a local farmer with a history of violence. He was crude, aggressive, and lived near many of the crime scenes. He was convicted in 1994. Pocciani's conviction was overturned on appeal in 1996 due to lack of physical evidence. The murder weapon was never found. He died in 1998 before he could be retried. Two of his snack friends, Mario Vanni and Giancarlo Lotti, were later convicted as accomplices, but many experts remained skeptical. One of the most chilling theories suggests the snack friends were just low-level muscle for a Black Rose cult. Some investigators believed wealthy Florentines paid the men to commit the murders to obtain relics for dark rituals. This theory inspired Thomas Harris's novel Hannibal. In recent years, a controversial theory emerged linking the monster to the American Zodiac Killer. Some researchers claim a former U.S. military investigator living in Italy admitted to being both killers. While the ballistics don't align, the psychological profiles are eerily similar. The .22 caliber Beretta, used in all the murders, has never been found. It is the holy grail of Italian forensics. Without it, every conviction remains haunted by a shadow of doubt. Was Pocciani the monster? Or was he a convenient scapegoat for a much more powerful and organized group? During the peak of the murders, voyeurism was a common subculture in the Tuscan hills. Hundreds of men would hide in the bushes to watch couples. The monster used this to his advantage, blending in with the watchers before striking, making it impossible for witnesses to identify him. The last known murder occurred in 1985. A French couple, Jean-Michel Crevic-Vili and Nadine Moriot, were camping in a tent. The killer sent a piece of Nadine's skin to the lead prosecutor in a taunting letter. After that, the monster simply stopped, or perhaps he died, taking his secrets to the grave. To this day, the case is a scar on the history of Florence. It changed Italian law and investigative techniques forever. Books, movies, and podcasts continue to dissect every detail, but the true identity of the man who stalked the Tuscan moonlight remains the world's most enduring enigma. Forensic experts still occasionally test DNA found at the old scenes, but the passage of time and poor storage in the 70s have made results inconclusive. The hills of Tuscany are peaceful now, but for a generation of Florentines, the memory of the Beretta in the dark still lingers. The monster of Florence was more than a killer. He was a phantom that exposed the fractures in the Italian justice system. Whether he was a lonely farmer or a high society cult member, he achieved the one thing serial killers crave most. He became a legend that can never be fully solved.